this would go in my top 5 palettes that I've tried from Colourpop this year. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be reviewing Colourpop's 90s collection. So this is their Plush Like Me collection, and I'm not too sure if this is their like official 2021 fall launch, but it definitely is giving me a lot of fall vibes. I'm really vibing with these tones. I love these type of tones. So I did get sent this in PR. I don't have the entire collection actually. I pretty much have half of it, but hopefully the shades that you guys want to see, I do have it, and I will showcase everything. We're gonna deep dive into this collection. I have swatches, comparisons, 3 looks. I'm gonna give you my thoughts, my favorites, everything you need to know about this new Plush Like Me collection we're gonna talk about today. So with that being said, if you guys are curious, then please continue watching. Alright, so before we hop into the individual reviews, I want to give you guys a little breakdown of what you can expect to see in this collection because it is fairly big. So with that being said, there is an eyeshadow palette, a 12 pan eyeshadow palette, and it is $18 US. There's also 8 luxe lipsticks as well, and I only have 4 to show you, but these are $8 US each. There's also 4 lippie pencils. I only have 2, but they are $6 US each. And if you would like to buy all 8 lipsticks and 4 lip pencils together in a bundle where you do save a bit of money, it is $78. And then there's also 4 blush sticks. I only have 2, but these are $9 US each. And then from Soul Body, we have a shimmering body powder. It is a mini size, and this is $10 US. But if you would like to purchase the entire collection, it is $125 USD. And I do have an affiliate code with Colourpop. It is just my name, Judy, at checkout for 10% off. And if you do use my code, I do receive a small commission from this. But thank you in advance if you do. And if you have, I do appreciate it. And it does help me and my channel out in the end. You guys know how much I love Colourpop, but thank you so much for using my code. You don't have to, no pressure, but it is there for you if you would like to save a bit of money. And it does work on this collection. It pretty much works on every collection, but yeah, it is there for you. So with that being said, let's hop into the individual reviews. And of course, let's start off with the eyeshadow palette. This is Plush Like Me, and this is what the packaging looks like. So it is a little bit bigger than the usual 12 pans. So if you have the Powerpuff Girls palette, it is the same size. So the pan is bigger, the palette is bigger. There's also a mirror inside as well. If you guys want a comparison, this is the original 12 pan, which honestly I do prefer. I don't know why they changed it to be bigger. Like, we don't need bigger pans, you know, we just need slower launches. But anyway, not the point. It's just a size comparison if you guys wanted to see that. Also the packaging, it has these little velvet little patches, which does add more uniqueness to the packaging. Some people might hate this because I used to hate the texture of velvet, but I kind of like it now. So it is pretty cute. I love the vibes. I do love the vibes. But here is what the palette looks like. So we have a lot of beautiful neutral browns. We got some burgundies in there as well. I think it's a really pretty color story, but honestly when I did first see it, I wasn't like that excited about it. I feel like that's me with like a lot of Colourpop launches. When I see it, I'm not so excited, but once I receive it and I start playing with it, like, I love it. And that was the case with this palette. I think when I first saw this collection, I think it was the packaging. It just reminded me too much of their previous fall palettes, like Whatever and Wine Not, and I love those palettes. I have them right here, and we are gonna compare them because they are really different. But I think it was just the packaging. It was really similar to that I was like, do we really need another palette that looks like this? But I think the color story is different from that, but I do have some good comparisons with you guys a little later on. But anyway, I really like this color story. There is 8 mattes in here, 4 metallics. They are all true mattes as well. There's no like little pearls in those mattes. They're all true mattes. And I really do like this ratio. It's the same ratio as my COLLAB palette. So I'm really vibing with it, and I think these tones are really beautiful. I think there's a lot that you can do with it as well. You definitely can lean more towards the burgundy side, but you can also lean more towards like a neutral olivey side, and you'll definitely see that in my 3 looks. I'll just put them up for you now so you can get a sneak peek. So look 1, it was more like technique based, but we have this like really pretty reverse burgundy cut crease. And then look 2, possibly my favorite look out of the 3. I just love these tones on my skin tone and against my eye color. even though I am wearing contacts, but these are brown contacts. This is like a really nice neutral olivey musky eye look, and then the third look is the one that I'm wearing right now, which is definitely a lot more fall, grungy, burgundy, glam, and I love that. I would say these are probably like the core color story that you can create with this palette. You definitely can go a lot warmer, but I think overall, generally, I just really love this palette. I really love the use of a matte where we have the transition, then we have the medium tones, and then we have really deep tones at that, and these deep tones work really well. They're not patchy at all, like they work like a dream. I feel like with Colourpop's deeper shadows, like their burgundies and their dark purples, like they do it so well. Okay, there was one patchy one in the Good Sport palette, but other than that, they do such a great job with their darker mattes, and I feel like it's quite hard to pull that off sometimes because it's so dark. It can be patchy, but with these, they're not like that. And I pretty much did use, I think, every single shade in here within my 3 looks, and I had no issues. It all performed well. And I also love the metallics. I love this one up here. It is just like a beautiful rose gold. You guys know how I feel about rose gold and metallics. Like rose gold all the way, over silver, over gold, just rose gold. I love it. Everything complements each other well. I just love how Colourpop chooses their color stories for the most part. They always do a good job with that. And I think overall, like this is a really great fall palette. Like I'm really vibing with this. I would say out of these 3, I think maybe Plush Like Me and Why Not is a tie. Why Not definitely is more monochromatic, so there's gonna be like a certain color story that you can only get out of this, and I think with Plush Like Me you definitely get more options because there are more browns in here. So I don't know, I really do love both, but I think maybe Plush Like Me might be my new favorite like burgundy palette from Colourpop now. And you guys know how much I love Why Not. I don't know why I keep calling this palette Why Not when it's called Wine and Only, my bad, but I do love these palettes. These are like one of my go-to palettes, but I think just what you can create from this palette alone, Plush Like Me is like my favorite. I definitely would have to say this would go in my top 5 palettes that I've tried from Colourpop this year. For sure. Like I really enjoy this palette. But I am just gonna go ahead and put up my comparisons here, because if you do have some of these palettes from Colourpop already, then you really don't need this palette. Especially with their latest mega palette, it's a mood. You can definitely find a lot of comparisons in here. They're not gonna be exactly the same, but there is a lot of similar shades in there. I haven't actually used It's a Mood yet. I'm gonna be filming my review next after this collection, but yeah, there is definitely a lot of comparisons, and then with some other palettes I do have as well. You guys will all see it here. But I will say from the other 4 palettes that we have seen from Colourpop, like the Wine and Only and whatever, they are really different. So in comparison to these, it is different, but we do see a lot of these similar shadows in other palettes. And I think I probably will just do more palette comparisons from now rather than shade by shade, because at this point, if I'm doing shade by shade comparisons, like I just feel like there's no point in shade by shade comparisons unless it's like a very unique color, then maybe, but for the most part I'm just gonna generalize the comparisons and give you palette by palette comparisons. I hope that's okay. And next up in the collection we have the Luxe lipsticks. I only have 4, but there is 8 in the collection, and the shades that I have is Banty, Kate, Cryan, and Gen X. And I will say that these 4 do look quite similar to each other. I did see the other 4 remaining shades and they did seem a little bit deeper, so there is a variety, but the ones that I have, I do feel like they cross over a little bit. And when I first saw these shades, honestly, these are not like my kind of shades. They're very mauvey. I probably would go a little bit more like red and burgundy rather than like mauvey with like a raspberry pink undertone to it. But in saying that, I really enjoyed these. I don't know if you guys are watching Street Woman Fighter, but if you know Nose or Nose, she wears a lot of these like burgundy berry lip colors, and after seeing on her, I'm like, wow, it's really pretty, and I feel like this gives me that kind of vibe. So after that, I kind of really do like it, and I think these complement the eyeshadow palette really well. I was like a little skeptical if it was going to match, but they do. I can't say that I have a favorite because they are all quite quite similar once they are on the lips, but probably the one I'm wearing right now, Crying, I am wearing it with one of the lip liners. It would have to be my favorite. I think this tone, I don't know, it's just not a tone that I usually like, but because of Nose, is it Nose or is it Nose? I'm not too sure, but because of her, I'm like, kind of like these tones now. I do have a couple of comparisons that I'll put up here for you. I don't think there is like an exact dupe, but there are definitely similar shades. So if you have any of these, then obviously don't need these either. But I think it is a different undertone that we have seen from Colourpop, because I feel like they definitely do make more like warmer tones, which I personally do prefer, but it's a nice like change, and I feel like it wasn't so monochromatic. Like this collection is not too monochromatic, you know what I mean? And then we'll quickly just talk about the two lip liners I have. We have Over the Liner and Good and Plenty. I have said very often that I'm not like a lip pencil person. I don't use it too often. I personally just don't feel like I need it, but I like these shades. I like these shades with the lipsticks. They complement them really well. The combo with the lip pencils, I think a lot of people will like this, and I also think that this collection will suit a lot of different skin tones. Even with the palette, it goes pretty dark. So I don't know, I can just see this collection on a lot of people, and that's why I really love this color story. I love these colors. Like this is my kind of color story. One of like my most favorite looks that I've ever done was with the Whatever palette, which you pretty much could create with the Plush Like Me palette as well. I'll put a photo over here. This is like one of my favorite looks I've ever done. I don't know why, something about it. It's just so grungy and like sultry. I love it. I just love these tones. So my type of collection, honestly. But these lippy sticks are great. I'm just not a person that use a lip pencil. I think for me, a lot of lip pencils just go really dark. I want a lip pencil that's like my lips but better. So if you guys know one, let me know. And then next we have the blush stick. So I only have two here, but it definitely has been a while since they have released new shades in blush sticks, I believe. I think there might have been some in the Limoncello line, but I didn't get that collection, so I can't remember exactly. But it's been a while, and I actually have decluttered all of my blush sticks and the highlighter sticks. I just didn't find myself using them, and then once I got these again, I was reminded why I don't use them. I really don't like these. They are very buildable. They're not like a very intense blush, so if you don't want something that's quite intense and pigmented, then I think you would really like these. Like these are very soft and natural looking, but I find that these can be a little bit patchy. Like when I filmed look 1 and look 2, my blush was like, I don't know, on camera it doesn't look as patchy, but in person it was quite patchy. I feel like today I really do like how they look, but my past experience with them the past 2 days was not good. So these are like just okay. I wouldn't recommend them. I think the two shades that I got again are very similar. Like once they are on the cheeks, they look kind of the same. So for the blush sticks would probably be my least favorite item in the collection. And then the last item in the collection is from Soul Body. It's their shimmering body powder. I did use this as a highlighter because I thought it would work as a highlighter, but don't use it as a highlighter on your cheek. It will pick up your blush and it will make it look patchy, and it's pretty much just like little specks of glitter. To me, this was like a really random product in the collection because this feels more of like a summertime product, but it is really pretty. But I have seen a similar shade from Colourpop like this before, so this is something that I personally wouldn't recommend. And the mirror in here, honestly, I don't like the mirror in this. It feels very zoomed in. It feels like curved in a way. I don't know. Not my favorite product in the collection either. But okay, you guys, so that was my review on the entire collection. Let's move into the 3 looks. Alright, so to get started with the first look, I'm starting off with the shade of Velour as my base color. So just taking that on a fluffy blending brush, we're just going to pack this onto the lid space first, and then we'll slowly start using more windshield wiping motions to get that blended up into the crease and up towards the brow bone. We're just really focusing on getting like a diffused base color for the eye look to really set the tone. So I'm also going to take this onto my lower lash line as well on that same brush. brush, a very big fluffy blending brush, and just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. And next, going into the shade Velvet One, I'm going to be using this for my wing liner. This is actually the shadow that you're going to be seeing the most. It's the star of the show. So just taking that on my angle brush and just creating my normal wing like I normally do. I'll also focus this at the inner corners of my eyes as well. Not necessarily creating like a fake inner corner, but just deepening that inner corner to create an illusion of a fake inner corner. So taking that into the inner third of my lower lash line as well. And then what's ever left on my brush, I'm just going to take that to the outer corners on my lower lash line just to give more definition there. So I'm going to go in with a dome shaped pencil brush just to sort of smudge and smoke everything out. Again, I want this to be quite smoky and diffused. So using this dome pencil brush will help create that smoky effect. And now just switching up my brushes but keeping the same shadow, I'm going to take this on a tiny thin paintbrush and I'm sort of just going to drag this along my crease line, so above where my crease naturally will fold. My eyes are a little uneven today, so I'm really just trying to match it with the eye that I did off camera, which is the eye that has a bigger lid space. I don't know, is this kind of like a reverse cut crease almost? I just want to play around with a different technique that I normally don't do. So this is what the result is. I go back and forth with that brush and then the dome brush to blend it out and just slowly building on that color. And then I'll just take a teeny tiny bit of concealer onto another brush just to sort of clean up that cut crease line right underneath, because then we'll go in with the shade Video Night and we're going to use this right underneath that cut crease line. We're also going to take that into our inner corners as well to highlight that area. Just taking a lighter shimmer shadow underneath that crease line is definitely going to make that fake cut crease pop out even more. So it gives more of an illusion and just gives more dimension to the eye look, since we did just play with only mattes. And now taking the cream gel liner from Colourpop in the shade Honey Dude, I'm going to run this all over my bottom waterline just to brighten up our look a little bit. And then finally just popping on my false lashes. Today I'm wearing Hannah from Petite Cosmetics. And then moving on to blush, I'm taking the blush stick from this collection in the shade Skater Boys, and I'm just going to apply this with my sponge. I did find that it was a little bit patchy, so I'll have to try it with a brush next time. But in this application, if you see my cheeks are looking a little bit blotchy, it is definitely the blush. So I'm not too sure how I feel about this blush. But for the lips, I went in with the lippie stick in the shade Good and Plenty to just line my lips. And then to fill in my lips, I went in with the Luxe lipstick in the shade Banty. I think it's a very nice mauvey lip and I think it suits the eye look perfectly. And I forgot to use highlighter, so I thought I would take the Soul Body Shimmering Body Powder in Catwalk, but I kind of regret this because it is just pretty much loose glitters and it kind of made my cheek area look a little bit more blotchy, so I wouldn't recommend using this as a face highlighter. And this, you guys, is the first look completed. I did add on these little pink gems just to add a little something to the look. I really like how it complements these shadows and it's just a nice little touch. But this is the first look completed. I'm so happy with how the eye look turned out. I really love this technique. I think I want to do it more often. I love the lip combo as well. The only thing I don't like is my cheeks because it does look really patchy, but other than that, I love everything else about this look and I hope you guys like it too. Now onto the second look. I'm going to start off with the shade Dip, and this is going to be our transition shadow. So in the pan it does look like it could be a transition shadow, but I think once you apply it, it does apply a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to take a little bit on my brush and just work with that to get a really light diffuse shadow as our base color into the crease and also towards the outer corners. I'm also going to take this onto my lower lash line as well. Although although it is a little bit deeper to start off, once you start blending this out, it works perfectly fine, and I think it's a really nice tone to set our olivey, grungy eye look. And then next, going into the shade Flannel, I'm gonna start packing this one on at the outer corners of my eyes. It's a really beautiful, rich, warm chocolate brown, and I had no issues with this shadow either. I think it blended so well. It was so easy to pack on and blend. It's a really great medium tone to work with. So we're also going to take this onto our lower lash line as well. I'm just going to take that on a defining brush and press that up against my bottom waterline, only at the outer third, stopping that towards the middle. Next, going into the shade Girl Band, I'm taking a smaller brush and I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing that I did with Flannel. So I'm going to take that to my outer corners, but I'm going to focus it a little bit lower so that way we can have a little bit more concentration at the outer corners and really get that depth going. I'm going to also take that onto my lower lash line, just taking it on that same fluffy small blending brush and just sweeping that onto the lower lash line to get a really diffused eye look. And now going into the shade TLC, I'm going to apply this to the inner third of my eyes. I'll take that into my inner corners and my lower lash line as well. But TLC is such a beautiful metallic. I would say it's definitely more of like a satin metallic. It's not so foiled and high shine. It really has that soft diffused feel to it, which I personally do like. But now we're just gonna go ahead and finish off the look by applying some eyeliner. I'm taking my brown liquid liner from M Cosmetics to create my wing. I will go back in with the shade Girl Band to smoke that wing out, because you guys know I can't do my wing without smoking it out. And then popping on my false lashes, I'm wearing Honey from Petite Cosmetics. And now moving on to the cheeks, I'm taking the blush stick in the shade Mole Rat from the collection, and I'm just gonna apply that with my sponge on one side and then a brush on the other. I just wanted to test that out. I do think it applies more pigmented and evenly with a brush, but I do like more of like a diffused type of blush look with the sponge, so I think both applies well. As for my lip combo, I went with the lippie pencil in the shade Over the Liner, and then going in with the Luxe lipstick in the shade Kate. I'm just gonna fill in the rest of my lips, and then I'll go in with a brush to blend these two into each other. And this, you guys, is the second look completed. I love how this turned out. I am really vibing with these tones. I love these sort of like neutral, musky in a good way type of tones. I think it complements my skin tone and also my eye color really well. Although I am wearing contacts, I think these tones really complement brown eyes, and I just really love how the metallic shadow matches my sweater completely. Like, that was a really good monochromatic moment. So yeah, this is the second look. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. And finally, onto the last look, I'm going to be taking the shade Slip Dress as our transition shadow. So I'm just going to work that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions like always. This is going to be that base color that we see through underneath all of the other eyeshadows. So I'm going to try and blend this up towards my brow bone. I'm really going to smoke it out to the outer edge and just get it really blown out, so that way it doesn't get lost afterwards. So we're also going to take this onto our lower lash line as well. I'm just going to sweep that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. Again, just getting a really blown out, diffused wash of shadow all over the lower lash line. Next, I'm going to go into the shade Flannel, and I'm going to start packing this one on at the outer corners of my eyes. Again, this is a really pigmented chocolate brown. It's like a beautiful chocolate brown at that. So you don't need a lot on your brush, and I think this blends out beautifully. So just packing it on there and then slowly working that out. I'm also going to take this onto my lower lash line as well, just using a defining brush and pressing that up against my bottom waterline. And now taking the shade Velvet one, I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing with Flannel. Just packing that at the outer corners of my eyes and then slowly blending that out. I am going to keep it a little bit lower and more concentrated at the outer corners rather than like diffusing it out, because we do want this gradient blend. And then also again, just taking that onto the lower lash line to make the entire look look cohesive. So now I'm actually going to go in with a little bit of concealer on my brush and sort of carve out my crease. This is just so the metallic shadows can pop out a little bit more. It's going to end up looking more like a soft cut crease, not like a crispy cut crease, if you know what I mean. And then I'm actually going to go back in with a velvet one, just a little bit. I take some off on the back of my hand and I'm taking this on a pencil brush, holding it upside down. I'm just going to drag that point of that pencil brush along that cut crease line just to enhance the cut crease even more. But then we're going to go into the shade Knee Highs and I'm going to apply this to the center of my eyes, sort of where the concealer fades out into the matte. This is going at the center. It's going to work as a good like transition blending color. I'm actually going to take a little bit of Runaway and place that at the inner third of my eyes, just so the metallic shadow on top can enhance even more. So then going in with Throwback and applying that right on top, it enhances the color a little bit more, and again it just makes the cut crease pop out a little bit more, you know. So like I said, this is not going to be like a crispy cut crease, it's going to be more like a soft cut crease. So I do just go over that cut crease line a little bit, just to get it a little bit more diffused. But now I'm going to go ahead and take my brown liquid liner to create my wing. This one is from Cosmetics, and then I'll go in with the shade Girl Band from the palette and use this to smoke out that wing to create the ultimate full sultry eye look. And the last couple of steps to the eye look, I do take a dark brown eyeliner into my top and bottom waterline. Whenever you use like a darker eyeliner in your waterline, it really just gives that smoky, sexy vibe. And then lastly, just popping on my false lashes. I am once again wearing Honey from Petite Cosmetics. And now moving on to the cheeks, I'm taking the blush stick in the shade Skater Boys, and I'm applying this with my sponge. I think today I actually applied a lot better, but it's definitely still not my favorite type of formula to apply. I feel like it's a little bit subtle for my liking, but today I feel like it doesn't look as patchy compared to the first time I used it, which is good. So maybe I'm just having like a better skin day today, but it does look a little bit better today. But that is the shade that I went in with. And then for my lip combo, I went in with the lippie pencil in the shade Good and Plenty. Line my lips, I sort of like blurred that out as well. And then for the lipstick, I went in with the shade Crying and filled that in and blended the lippie stick and the Luxe lipstick together to create this lip color, and I think it matches the eye look perfectly. But this, you guys, is the final look completed, and I really love how it turned out. I love the burgundy tones. These are definitely my kind of tones for fall time or any time that I just want more of like a deeper burgundy sultry look. These are the tones that I'm going for, and I really love how the eye look turned out. I think the blush stick performed a bit better today, and I also really love the lip color as well. It's not like a lip color that I would go for a lot, but I'm really liking it. So I just like how the final look turned out, and I hope you guys like this look as well. Alright guys, so those were my 3 looks. What did you guys think? Which look was your favorite? I think mine would have to be look 2, but I really love the technique in look 1. Of course I love this look as well, but I don't know, something about look 2, those tones, I really love those tones. But let me know your favorite. I really do appreciate your feedback. It helps me out a lot. I know what you guys want to see and what type of techniques you guys like, so let me know down below. But my camera is gonna die, so I gotta speed